Mr. Chairman, you are now live.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 25th meeting of the Board of Commissioners for Pierce County District 5, Gig Harbor Fire Medic 1. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of agenda?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Roll call vote?
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Commissioner's absence. Reminder, I will be absent for the September 8th meeting.
I'm also out of town for that meeting, so it's going to be a quorum of 3.
Okay.
So
You're going to be in town. Matthew, you going to be available for that meeting?
Yes, I will be available. Yep.
if you need me to, just let me know. I can buzz in remotely. So
Okay. Communications. Approval of minutes from the August 11th, 2026 Commissioners meeting.
So moved.
second,
Motion and a second. Roll call vote?
Commissioner Nelson,
yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Accounts payable and payroll approvals.
I'll move that we approve accounts payable checks 4161 through 4211, payroll and ACH transfer checks 4212 through 4221, as outlined in the agenda for a grand total of $2,764,146.24.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Local 3390. Anybody out there out in the crowd? Okay, no report. Chief's reports.
Chief Langlow.
Good evening. Just a real quick update on 2 items. Crunch time, September 18th through the 20th, our auto extrication symposium. It is now full. So 92 candidates, 92 registrants. So we've met our max. Really excited about that. And we're already starting a wait list for crunch time. And then just a quick update on deployments. We've had a couple of folks return from deployment. Right now we have Brush 52 with 3 of our folks is actually on their way home. They'll be home about 9 o'clock tonight. So they're in transit back home. And then that will just leave us with 2 folks out. We have 2 heavy equipment bosses that are out on separate fires, Chad Foster and Brennan Arnold, and they should be back this weekend. So unless we have new events, JJ is always trying to drum up new work. Unless we have new events, we'll have all of our folks back by this weekend. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. The medic unit is still out also, and they are going to be out through probably the end of this weekend as well.
Great.
Thank you.
That's all from the deputies. Last week I met with District 26 Representative Addison Richards. And then I also hosted Ontario Fire Chief came into town, and then also had another guest, Paul Anderson, who was the EMS Bureau Chief in Idaho for many, many years, and came by and helped us with lots of stuff. And he's kind of a legend in Idaho and EMS. So that was exciting to host all of them. I attended the Pierce County, or I have the Pierce County Fire Chiefs meeting this week, Chamber Public Affairs Forum. Next week, I will be in Boise taking care of my parents. So I'll be out most of the week next week. And then a reminder, September 11th, we'll be having our 9/11 ceremony. It's the 25th anniversary. It'll be at 0900 here at Gig Harbor Fire. That's all I have for updates.
Thank you. Standing committee reports. Anybody have anything? Under negotiations, nothing new at this point. We're still waiting. Chairman's report, nothing. Bond update.
Well, good evening. Actually, some updates from training campus. Last week, Pease was on site with their crew, completing some punch list items, nothing huge, and then completing a few additional projects in the tower that training had asked for. So crew was out here. There'll be a little bit more work to complete, some concrete work, stuff like that. But today, I went down to the training campus and the hose cadre and engine cadre were down there putting the building through its paces, flowing water and making sure everything worked and drained and all that stuff. So I got no reports that they hate me right now. So I think all is good on the training campus. So it's getting its use. And then one of the classrooms had a class going on in it. So it's already there. The big thing right now, as Nick said, is crunch time's coming up. So the curtains are open, or if you got a chance to view down there, there is a plethora of cars and vehicles arriving for that event. So getting good use. Station 51. So minor work here and there. The crew actually was cut back for a couple of weeks because we were waiting on steel trusses. The at bay itself is pretty spacious and without any columns, requires some pretty expansive areas. Those trusses were finally finished assembling and were put in place last week, so a very huge milestone. And as those were put in place, first one went in place, glue lambs have to go in to hold them, and then the second one is placed. It was an entire day process. I am meeting with Melissa tomorrow, so look forward to, we're going to put together an update of kind of where we are in it with some of those videos and pictures. So that was a big thing happening. They were finishing some of those glue lamps today when I was there, and the site is filled with lumber of all dimensions and sizes, and that will quickly start disappearing since we have the bigger structure in the middle with the roof up. Additional work on the site. It's called a gallery. Basically, it's to catch all the runoff on the site. There's a large one out on the Kimball side. There's one on the south side of the building and one in the back. The one on the Kimball side, if you didn't drive by it over the weekend, you won't notice too much. The hole is filled pretty much. It's a very large hole. They were finishing that today. Then they'll start with some underground utility work going up the north side of the building. So the main water line and the main electrical feed will start going in. And then we finally have a delivery date of our second shipment of steel for, in essence, the south side of the building. That will be on or before September 14th. And once that steel arrives and gets erected for basically the two-story side of the station, things will really start moving again. And in the planning and the scheduling, as they cut down waiting for stuff, when that steel arrives, they will be over doubling the crew that is on site to do all of that work, because wood is easy. It's just getting the steel beams and the columns in place. With all of these things, with some of the delays in steel, some of the rebound from the initial later start date, we now have I'll say a final clean, quote unquote. Last day for Pease to be there is 8/31 of 27. So we were looking at the end of June, so we've bumped a few months out. And they are still making up ground once everything gets on site, hence the doubling or more of the crews. They're doing everything they can to catch up. So that date, I'm hoping, starts backing back towards that original June date. That's the update for those projects. Any questions? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Langlois, under crunch time, I forgot to ask, do we have any partners in that? I know we used to have State Farm as a big partner. Do we have any partners like that that's helping with the program?
State Farm is still a partner.
Okay.
And then I will, so I don't misspeak, I'll get you a list of those partners for the next meeting. But yes, we have other partners, both vendors and other fire departments that are sending instructors. So I'll get you a list of that.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Old business, does not look like there is any. New business, Station 5859 rebuild versus remodel analysis.
All right. Before Chief Johnson takes you through the analysis, I just want to start with where it's going to land so that you can hear the details and then think about that with our recommendation in mind. So it's our recommendation that we rebuild Station 58 and 59 and not remodel them. Chief Johnson's going to walk you through how we got there, the costs, and what each option delivers. No action is required tonight. We don't need a vote, but we do need some affirmation of that direction. If you agree, that's all we need to hear. If you don't, we want to hear that too. And if there's more due diligence you'd like to see or analysis you'd like to see, let us know if we missed the mark. So, Chief Johnson.
All right. Leslie will get us loaded up here. No pressure, we're just waiting on you. So what I put together for this evening, basically, as Chief Doan said, we're just walking through. There's a few numbers in there. And it's kind of built through, and I'll throw some background information in for you for the process too. So our capital bond, 2022 capital bond, the first part of the bond was looking at what our needs were within the district. So we did a capital facilities plan with recommendations. That was completed in September of 21. As we move forward with that, and Chief Doan came in, we started looking at how are we going to accomplish this? So the district went out and the taxpayers approved an $80 million capital facilities bond in August of 2022. Along with that, following the approval, Finance Division did a huge heavy lift, and we went out and sold $50 million in bonds in November of that year. And then coming in October, November of this year, we'll sell the remaining $30 million. Projects to date. So we did from the capital facilities plan, I did a little bit of study and did some looking. Original projects order were not what we did it in. But I saw the need to do the 53, 57 remodel so that we had somewhere to move the people. And we've obviously used those stations, and the crews are operating out of both of them. Our big lift was the training campus and the tower. As I gave you the update, it's being used and will continually be used from now on. A huge step and a huge long process completed for the district. Early on, we saw the need. We purchased 5 new Type 1s, which are coming. And then the rebuild of Station 51 started in February of 26. A few months obviously late from the lawsuit, but we got her started. And as I said earlier, we're trying to catch up and make up that time. So our next projects are 58 and 59. What you're looking at now is just a street view. Most of you have seen all these, but I wanted to include the street view of where the station currently sits, and I'll give you some background of why you're looking at a street view of it. Stations were built in both these particular stations. The opening date, I believe 58 was July of 88, and 59 was September of 88. So those 6 stations that are the same all came from a bond measure from 1985. Looking at the back of 58, you're wondering why I'm showing you the back. So the top picture is just the back of the building as it sits. The second picture, for perspective, same gray pickup in the right side of the top picture is the same gray pickup in the bottom picture. The other row of parked vehicles are actually in the parking lot of the training tower. So it's a little bit tight back there, and I'll get to that. Some cost analysis. So obviously built, as I said, built in 1988. It's 6,258-ish square feet, depending on what you look at. The initial cost from the estimate from the capital facilities plan, when we did it in 22, was right at $5.6 million. We move forward, we're looking at a major remodel and addition. As we're doing that, well, as time goes, we have building code changes. So those changes now drive our cost up to 8.3 million. And that initial capital facilities plan was adding roughly 38 to 4,000 square feet. So the station would be 10,622 square feet. Sounds huge until you live in it and try and fit all the current needs in the station. Moving forward, a major remodel and addition with the latest code changes and increasing the square footage to what we're looking at now, which is about 12,000 square feet, is $10,413,000 and change. A remodel or a replace, current looking at roughly the first quarter of 28. I am pushing that window pretty hard to get it sooner, but we need to get 51 done and people moved in before we start the 58 project. It's a timing thing. So 58 goes to 13,414 square feet at roughly $13 million. We're to the next slide, but I will say that same timeline is for 59. It's just we're moved up. 59 is slightly smaller, and that's built into the program. What do we gain? So with 58 and looking at response out of that building, where the training tower sits, I'm looking at moving the station it's 101 feet and so many inches forward to Busich and realigning it so that it's square to the station. As you saw from the pictures, currently the crews come out and then go to a left and then kind of swing out to the to Busich. It does cause an issue with traffic on Busich. They can't see the rigs coming out of the station with everything there. So my proposal is they'll be about 100 feet off of Busich, and that's to allow the rigs to come out onto an apron in front of the station for rig checks and that kind of thing, and to come out and give pause for that second and let everyone catch them and see them coming out. It provides for a wellness room, both stations. You'll see almost the same information for 59. Current requirements, a wellness room can be called a multitude of things. We are calling it a wellness room. It's a room to get away from everything. It's soundproof, lighter colors. It can also be used as a lactation room. It's lockable. It has running water. It has a refrigerator, all those things that are required for that. But it's more of a peaceful space. You'll see one. It's in 51. It's upstairs. It's painted different. Like I said, it's a calmer room. And as we look at building and other organizations, Tom and I were at South Sound a few months ago. They have turned their lactation rooms into wellness rooms. A dispatcher has a tough call. They can go into the room. It's quiet. Once they go in, people don't disturb them in there. They have a few moments to take everything in and kind of calm themselves. And that's what we're looking at in both stations. In the CFP plan, there is no wellness room planned because it wasn't required at the time that we did the capital facilities plan. So there's even changes to that plan that we would need to do.
Additionally, within both stations, it provides for a larger kitchen, dining room, living room. There's been multiple changes in the electrical code. With 51, looking at the footprint, the electrical room and the water room, we will say, are very large. 51, I won't say future-proofed, but I'm trying to provide for the future. We've all seen electric fire engines. That requires a huge draw. So we are putting in the infrastructure for the future at 51. With the capital facilities plan as it stands, station design, there is no room in the electrical room. If you've ever visited the stations, these stations were built 40 years ago and the electrical room is bulging at the seams, and we just don't have the infrastructure available for the future to have these ready when, however that may be, that logistics decides or the department decides we need an electric engine, an electric medic unit, whatever it is, it'll be ready in the new design. With the proposal of a rebuild, all 3 bays will be drive-through. With the capital facilities plan, 2 bays will be a drive-through, 1 won't, because we need that space to put other things in. With the new design, the stations that we currently look at were built in the 80s for a volunteer organization, not to be habitated 24/7, 365 days a year. The flow is just broken. With the new design of a station and a new layout, all of that is taken into account. And then no surprises with the 40-year-old building. We don't know what we're going to get into once we start tearing them apart. It's later on, but 59, we found a bug issue, which led to looking deeper. We have some rot in walls. We could run into that throughout the buildings, which then drives our cost even more. Hard to see, as big as I could make it, is what I did. So this is the Station 58 from the capital facilities plan. Where the station sits now, the darker gray areas are where the square footage would be added. So it's adding an out bay on the outside, bumping out the back, taking into account the courtyard area on 58 at the north side, and then kicking out the day room. So that would be how the station sit. It remains in the same place, and we're adding square footage where we can. Once again, and I can provide copies to you. This is the design that we have come up with as a committee for 58 and 59. They will both be, in essence, what you're looking at now is the slide you're going to see for 59, with the one exception of the bay on the far right is 25 feet longer. So if we have something happen at 51, currently, if we put a very large tillered ladder truck there, Nick needs somewhere else for it to go if something happens. The place that it would go that we see now is 58. So we need to make that at bay longer. Hence, this station is bigger in square footage strictly because the at bay is longer to accommodate a tillered ladder truck inside.
John, can I interrupt you for just 1 second, ask a question? And this is probably not a concern, but is there any chance that 59 is in a bad location that we would move it?
So I will,
Like standards of cover, like it's still in the best place. Like if we're going to tear it down, like is that it's still in the best place? I know that's kind of a crazy.
Chief Doan's ready to jump.
Short answer, yes. When we did our standard of cover, one of the things that we were most pleased about is that our stations were all rightly placed. And so we did evaluate it a few years ago.
And I will give props to chiefs before me, but Chief Simback, when he laid out stations, if you look at a map and you go as the crow flies, they are literally all about 3 miles apart. That's not accounting for roads. But back in the early 80s, when you could still acquire land relatively easily, he strategically placed those out where they are now. And it is held because he looked at future roads, future developments that were on the books, that kind of thing. Just a quick rundown. I won't do it in 59. If you look, the day room or the sleep rooms are in the back. There's 7. That's what we had counted for in the capital facilities plan. Currently, both stations have a crew of 5, not counting a probationary firefighter, which would be a 6th, or an additional crew. Sometimes we have extra crews, storms, whatever. We'll put people on the 4-wheel drive brush trucks or whatever we have. So it gives us some expansion of space, just like 51 has it built in. So 7 dorm rooms, 3 bathrooms, a kitchen that is built for that number of people. Same with the day room. The major change that we have found and that works in a lot of places, East Piers is just ahead of us, and they have moved their PT room away from the sleep areas. When somebody wakes up at 5:30 and is dropping hundreds of pounds of weight, you don't have to worry about the noise. So the PT room is actually on the opposite side of the station. And there is adequate bunker gear. And in this case, 58's case, there is a TRT gear storage room. And all of those are meet up to current standards. Currently, if you walk in 58 or 59, that back space between the non-drive-through at bay is taken up by gear lockers, and our gear lockers are in the bay. Sunlight degrades our gear. So these are all no windows, negatively ventilated, and heated to keep our gear lasting as much as we can. Questions about layout? Because like I said, the layout for 59 is exactly the same with a shorter bay.
Question about that, since this is sort of our chance to build for the next 50 plus years, is there something to be said for making both stations the same in terms of additional apparatus space? Because
So
I know now we're kind of like cramming everything into the stations we have.
So what we looked at, we worked with Steve and logistics. So the bays are 60 feet each, the normal bays, and we have 3. Currently at 9, there is an engine and a medic. We have a full bay. This one, we have an engine, a medic, and the rescue. And currently there's about 3-4 feet between them as they back up into the bay. There is plenty of room for future things in here, but we want them to be pull-through bays. We don't foresee more equipment, hence there's 7 dorm rooms. We have the opportunity to put more equipment in this bay space. But the future is the future. I won't say it's future-proofed, but when we look at staffing and our response model as we are, an engine and a medic at those stations will cover the areas. And then it just so happens that 8 has the rescue. So we have to accommodate the current rescue, a ladder truck, or whatever we're going to do to replace the rescue. And that could be a truck and trailer, which are actually a little bit longer than the current rescue.
JJ,
So-
I think you missed the question. I think what he's saying is we're building 58 with a longer bay. Why not just make them both 58 and 59?
Exactly. Yeah, that's my question. If I
Yeah.
can articulate it.
I don't-
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
We talked through that of where a ladder truck would be. 59 is, I won't say 100% residential, but Nick talked through ops. Yeah,
Well, I don't necessarily mean a ladder truck there. I
Right.
mean, just extra space, period, to
I'm
fit.
I'm not against
Yeah.
it. It's 25 feet extra.
Right. I just don't want I don't want whoever's in my seat 30 years from now going,
To use your name in vain, and
well, yeah, like
I'm
we
with
did
you.
this we did this at 58. Why didn't we do this
Right.
at 59? Not saying that we would put a tractor drawn ladder, but put an
Yeah.
engine and a reserve engine, or
Yeah.
have enough space to put more stuff.
It's
there.
a pretty easy one to do because we already have that accounted, and we, instead of cutting it, we mirror it. I'm following you.
Yeah, and just because when I've toured the identical six, I'll call them, I mean, I think if you could go back to 85 or 86 and tell them like, hey, make the bays 20 feet longer and it'll help us a lot in 2026, given that each station was 500 grand at the time.
Yeah.
They probably, it would have been money well spent. That's where I'm coming
Okay.
from.
I got you. Yep. Noted. I appreciate it. Any other questions about kind of layout of the station? Like I said, we did modeling. We looked at a bunch of other stuff. The way you start these things is you account for a square footage of a day room, a bedroom, and you multiply it by the number, and then you just literally put blocks together and then start moving and then look at flow. And the folks on the committee that looked at it, this flow works way better than what we have. We have straight corridors leading to the app bay from every space. And we're pulling disaster supplies from outside connexes that are failing into a storage room so that they're within the building. These are essential facilities as we look at seismic structure. This is where you want to be when the big one hits, or the training tower. It's not going anywhere. So that is the site plan of the proposed 58. So as I said, it's hard to see. I forgot my little pointer. The little black lettering that's kind of in the middle of the gray field to the left, that little dotted line is where 58 currently sits on the site. Like I said, I think it's 101 feet 6 inches forward and lining up to Busich with a straight apron going out the back. And you still maintain 2 entrances to the north. You'll go through a gate and come around, or you can come through the gate here between 58 and 50. We are digging into the bank, but we're digging into the bank no matter what we do because the bank's in the way. So there's some more earthwork at this site than 59, which is totally flat. Oh, it doesn't show up on the screen. It was a nice try. Yeah. So that's the site that we're proposing. I witnessed it. Funny story, but Chief Doan won't hit me for telling a story, at least here. I was at 58 taking pictures and doing some stuff this morning, and we had a citizen pull in and didn't know where to go. Because there's parking in front of the existing and there's parking on the side. That was one of my asks, that we only have one way for them to go. And they have one way to go. We have 4 parking stalls on the northeast corner. That is the public entrance, and there is a public, locked off public entrance area with a bathroom. They can only go there unless they're pulling in front of the app base, which we hope they don't do. So, questions about the layout of 58 on the site?
Is that gated around the back?
Yep. So gate to the north. Once again, there's some little dotted lines. There's a gate on that north entrance. We will continue a gate off the south corner out to the gate that's right, the fencing that's right out here. And at 58, mainly, it's to keep people off of the training campus grounds. Because there's a lot of stuff down there that we don't want them getting into. The building itself is secure. We just don't want people wandering in. So.
Have we had problems with people breaking into cars?
Not breaking into cars, but even with the gates, last week we had a little lady follow one of the delivery trucks right on in to the training campus. And she, if you haven't looked at it, there is a drop off on that road. She was getting ready to turn left to the drop off. Hence those things, we try and keep people out of there. And just an elevation for you to see. Like I said, you're going to see the same slide at the end of 59. There's just the fronts are the same. They're the same building. That's our proposed front of the building. Following 51 with the 7'6", you cannot not distinguish this as a fire station. It's 58, Gig Harbor Fire and Medic 1 on the front. We went with a more residential roof lines to blend in with both environments, 8 and 9, versus a commercial. It'll be metal roofing. All the things that logistics has asked for ease of maintenance have been included in this because they've been with me the whole way. So
Is there a second story on the left side of that?
the left side,
picture?
yeah, you didn't see it in the layout because literally it's a mezzanine for all mechanical equipment, all that stuff. We just have to have access to. There is a small storage area up there, but it's mainly all the mechanical stuff versus putting it all outside and in the weather. We can do it inside underneath that. So
Because it's mechanical, I assume it wouldn't need an elevator. Like,
don't need an elevator. Nope. Because it's non-accessible except for those people that we need to come get to it. So
Are we dealing with, as far as permitting, is this going to be all Pierce County for both of these? We don't have to worry about the city of Gig Harbor.
good question.
I don't know where city limits are anymore.
58, we're not in the city limits, but we're close enough that the city does get a little bit of a say. Hence, residential roof lines, outside wall finishes, those things are included in this. 59, the city has nothing, but 58, it does have to run through them. Just like years ago, the city actually had a say in the training campus a little bit, and some of that. They didn't push much, and we think the design we have will go through because really what little say they do have, it's the outside appearance and does it blend into the community more than anything. So I think we're safe.
Right, thank you.
59, this one will be faster. Same thing, same perspective that is the entrance to the station. Currently, they come out and kind of veer left to go out. Once again, it's just a leftover from a 1980s architecture and trying to make it look pretty. And over 40 years, we have learned that those nice things are actually a pain to take care of. So same perspective. I didn't need to show you the training campus, but just back of the building and then front. It's time for a refresh of these. 59. Some items in the building are in more need of things than 58, but we kind of want to finish the 58 project so that it's done and complete. Some of those unknowns, as I said earlier, we had a bug issue. We did further investigation and we found some wall rot that we're going to have to address in 59. Honestly, when we dig into the walls, I'm not sure what we're going to find. It's a 40-year-old building. So same thing. It was built in the same year as 8, as it happens, the 6 stations. This one is a little bit cheaper initially. In the end, when we go all the way to the end, this one's almost the same cost. If we stay with the same, if we have it square footage lower, if we add that extra, it'll be a little bit more. The increased cost with this, it's just because of timing. Doing 8 and 9, we put a 6% increaser in for each year, and that's the increaser. So that's it on that slide. As I said before, the same reasons. We align it to the street for a better response. We have a wellness room. The station has the room and the dedicated space for all the things and the 7 people that we intend, and we don't have surprises with a rebuild. Current layout, same as before. The darker areas are additions. So like to the southeast corner, adding a bay and some storage out there. We are going to be approaching that red line. The blue line's the property line. The red line is our setbacks. So we'll be bumping up pretty dang close to it. With bumping that out and having a road go around. If you've been to 59, we're going to push into that road that goes around it, which then pushes the road right to the extreme. So same layout moving forward. And then this one is the repositioning of the station on the site to same thing as 58. There's a way around. You come in, that's where the public entrance is. You come through a gate and the rigs pull through. What we did add, and the crews asked for it, is because we're taking out some asphalt too. These stations were all designed to have Tuesday night drill and have drill at all of them. We can get rid of some asphalt, which the county really likes. We get rid of some impervious space, which also helps us getting rid of surface water runoff. But we do have a 12-foot road around with a gate to the southeast corner. And that is so a rig coming in the back of the station, like a crew coming to visit or do an EMS drill with them, doesn't have to multi-point turn when all of those parking spots are full. They can still literally drive around the station. And that's that was a late addition which won't add much to the cost. But that's the reasoning behind of re-aiming, repositioning the station on the site that we're given. As I said, it's the same layout along the front. It's just more of a perspective for you to see a rendering of what it would look like with a change to a 9 versus an 8. Questions, comments?
So originally between the two stations was under 11 million.
So if you add them, they were just over. So capital facilities plan without all the stuff was like 8.6 each to 9.
Okay.
Now we add all of the code updates. We're pushing to that 10 mark. Some of the later one is going to be closer to the 11. And then we add the square footage that we're looking at in the flow. We're to the 12.8 and the 13.3.
So the question just is, what is, I guess, an update on the capital facilities budget overall?
Yeah, we can do that. Crystal hates it when I back of the napkin, but even with both of these being rebuilt, I hesitate to give a number, but 5 million ish left over still. Yeah, we believe we can do both these projects, rebuild them both and still have 5 million. And then we'll discuss what we do with that. Do we put a little into 52, into 56, the two stations that we didn't, or.
And, up front, we bought 5 additional engines. In the middle of all of this, we had a tree fall on this building, one of the projects I didn't list. I didn't want to give another update to Leslie. We spent round numbers $1.5 million on this building when we flooded it and updated this building.
Yeah, I have no issue with what the proposal is. I would just like to see an updated bond budget.
Yeah, and that's what our second, so we sold the bigger, the 50 million upfront to Training Center 51 were the 2 big projects. And the remaining 2 that when we worked through that, that narrative was 8 and 9 were going to be the final sale. And we're still within those budgets.
Well, and we'll update that. I had Crystal do it just 6 months ago, so we can do it again. And I'd even like to show you where the original plan was and then where we are now, because we've made a lot of changes and so, yeah, we can bring that.
John, that looks great though.
Yep.
Good work.
So the delta at the end of the day is what, $1.5 million each for each station more. and at the highest level, I've done a lot of fire stations in 18 years, and every time you dig in to remodel, it ends up costing more. And what I'm afraid of is we spend more on a remodel and get less, and it doesn't meet our business and our operational needs so.
And John, one question I had. So they're both 7 bedrooms, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
One thought I had, and I realize with kind of the layout of the department, there'd be pretty unlikely scenarios where it would be 2 large apparatus fully staffed, meaning, an engine or ladder, other than, the potential for maybe 5-1 in the distant future. But if there was something, you talked about, these are the robust buildings that are going to survive a larger earthquake. If we had something where we were doing a remodel or a station had a bed bug issue and was getting shut down, we have enough satellite stations, we could relocate crews. We had a large earthquake and we lost some of those satellite stations and maybe even one of the older stations that's staffed, there would be the potential of having, say, 2 engines in a station. I realize this is a small possibility, but by adding a single bedroom to both of those, since they're 3 bays already, that could allow for 2 large apparatus and still having a medic unit or, say, a future aid car. So just, I guess I was kind of curious, not to try to add anything because I realize it's already a large number, but adding the single bedroom to both could actually add a lot of potential to a 3-bay station.
No, I follow you. Making notes.
Anything else from anybody? Okay. JJ, thank you once again for everything you're putting into this. We truly appreciate it. Open public comment. State your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. If you're out in the IT land out there, please raise your hand. We have anybody. Okay, thank you. Good of the order.
I have one for good of the order. I'll give some credit to my brother who I sent an email to about the crunch time sponsors. So I can just wrap that up right now. And he sent
Go
me a
for it.
list. So Hearst Jaws of Life is providing instructors and equipment. Paratech is providing instructors and equipment. Curtis, which I think formerly is Ellen Curtis, JJ. I think Curtis is providing instructors, equipment, and sponsoring lunch. Makita Northwest is equipment and lunch. Sunbelt is providing equipment. The Pulse Heart Institute is bottled water. I mentioned State Farm for the State Farm grant. Costco is providing some support in the form of gift cards. And then the Bates Fire Service Program is sending students to provide assistance down on the training ground, moving people and equipment. And he said that's the list. He said he might have forgotten someone, but that's the one he can think of.
Thanks a lot. Look, I got a lot of support in here. Thank you. What time's lunch?
I would say between 11, I think it's 12 to 1:30.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else under good of the order? Any special interest upcoming events? Hearing none, this meeting's adjourned.